What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen? Day traders, club swing traders. Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. We got some earnings coming in this morning, so officially kind of kicking off at least a lot of the fintech names starting to come in. So we'll see. And then obviously we got some big names, AMD, most probable notable today. I think we got Microsoft. I'm not sure if they're today, but if not today, tomorrow, something like that. But we're starting to get into the earnings little shakeup. So we'll see what happens. But we got Albert Nows. Good morning to you. Good morning to Anna, Bill, Cheryl, Cindy, Corey. Good morning. We got Eric, J, Joe, Kevin. Good morning to Lauren, Matthew, Micus, Rick, Tim, Vidrin. Did I say that correct? Vidrin? Good morning to you. We got Santilla in YouTube land, Clarice in YouTube land. All my lurkers in the background. That's okay. I still love you. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. So we'll start with the SPY. SPY is, and if you guys got tickers, let me know. Throw those into the chat. We'll definitely pull up those ones for you guys as well. But we got SPY with a little bit of a gap and go. Essentially, we're not quite there yet, but almost back to the opening price. This is kind of like that game. Whose line is it anyway? Where the points don't matter and just everyone has fun. That's essentially where we're at right now. So just pretty much back to the opening price. Notably, though, we are probably trapping maybe some bears that got in short yesterday. I don't know if we had too many bears short. We did come down. We retested all those VPOCs from the last few days. I like the open. I wish it was a little bit higher. Maybe it will be in 25 minutes. Who knows? But I'd like to see us open above 546.10 or wherever that opening price from yesterday was. Looks like 546.02. So if we get an open above that, I think that would be a little bit stronger. And then we're still inside this big kind of sell-off drop candle. This was a little bit of a retest kind of gap. So we still have to kind of work ourselves back up, get to that point. But it's a start. Now we do have yesterday's VPOC. We have probably somewhere around 545.64 support. Looking below that again, 544.71. Then we got 543.98, 543.04. So a bunch of different levels in here. Same thing all the way back here from all the way back June 24th-ish. And so back yonder. I don't know if anybody can remember that far back, but it was so long ago. But we're still above all that support, so we're still hanging in where we have to. It's not bad. The 20 EMA, that's coming in at 548.99, so that could get held up. I think today, especially with some of the bigger tech names starting to come out, like we said, AMD, Microsoft is on the agenda. I think we also have Amazon this week. Are we going to really have enough momentum to break out today from this big candle? Or would it make more sense if we waited till after hours, let at least some of the bigger names start coming out first and see how they do? Tech is still kind of slumping a little bit. So again, we have some of the earnings starting to come out, and they've been for the most part decent. For the most part, they've been decent, especially SoFi, I think, reported today. They, I thought, had pretty decent earnings, kind of still getting held back pre-market, but PayPal had really good earnings. We'll talk about that one in a second. But it would make sense. So I think the market's probably feeling a little bit bullish. We're kind of surviving at least the beginning portion of things. I think if we could get a push into 547.94, I think that's probably a really good day. We stay inside, and I think that's where we stop. The next level up from there, that would be quite the bullish move. And I don't know if we could get there, but if we're going to, the bulls are really going to start to tear it up a little bit. I think 549.62 is almost my extended target. I just think with this volume, the fact that we've had a few inside days, I think we do want to start leaning a little bit more bullish today. I don't know if we're going to break out of that candle today, though. So, because then I think we are looking for that gap fill. We got a few little stops in between. So we'll see how today plays out. I think that 20 should probably hold us down. And we get kind of more of a little chop day, at least until we get to some bigger companies, bigger earnings, especially something more tech related would make sense. So I do think probably a little bit chop. I think we stay inside that big candle. Qs, again, not quite at the opening price. We're definitely inside day on Qs. we're above some support. So from yesterday's VPOC 464.69, so decent. We got slight little bullish edge. We have a few other levels, 463.75. We've got 462.55. So we have all the way again back in June. Provided us a couple different spots. The resistance side of things, and we did bounce off that 100 EMA as well. On the resistance side of things, we got 467.12. Looks like we've tried to break through that twice. So far, not able to. So I think if we could hang in the bullish direction, we could hang above those support. Do I think we have a big, massive blowout day today? Probably not. But I do think the 67.12 is going to be a little bit easier to get through. And I think it's possible. So I think we have a chance. Again, we have that 50 EMA kind of coming in, 471.20. We'll see what happens on that. That would be this gap fill. And then just kind of looking at the actual VPOCs, I would have 473.80 is a pretty big level that we have to try to break through. It's also kind of representing the opening price of that big drop that we had 4 days ago. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't think it's going to be a home run today. I don't think it's going to be a very easy day. But I think we still are leaning a little bit more to the bullish side for right now, and I'm probably going to stick to my day trades in a rather bullish, unless there's a company out there that doesn't really agree, and we'll see. But TLT, so that one's been kind of climbing back up. Next little resistance on this one, 94.09, but still kind of in that same zone, so nothing too impressive, which is kind of what TLT is supposed to do. Not a whole lot. IWM, we did have a bearish engulfing candle yesterday. We are gapping up, so it is a gap and go. Again, still inside day. This one's at the lower kind of range of yesterday. So not as impressive of a move quite yet on this gap. You do have resistance above us, 222.81. Support, I think, is a pretty strong one, so we're right around 222. And then if we get a little bit higher on this retest, watch 223.48. But again, right now, still opening inside day. You're at 52-week highs, but we did put in potential double top. You have a bearish engulfing candle. I do think if this candle on IWM starts to break out and we go northbound here, fantastic. And really, I'm starting to look at my confirmation at 223.59. So I want to start getting above there and then see if we could get that little extra push. So again, I don't know. I think today might be a wait and see type day. I'm not sure. But we're we got the big guys coming in soon, so we'll see. Albert says good morning. Good morning to you. We got PFE. Joe says, what happened to Dell SoFi yesterday? I'll take a look. I'm not sure. We'll take a look at those ones too. Now I'm curious, but that killed the cat. I'm pro cat, so I don't know. But we got PFE. They did report earnings today. PFE this morning before the bell. So that's up 31%. Earnings per share. So nice little beat on that one. And then we got $322 million surprise revenue beat to the higher side. So not bad. This is a retest gap. They actually moved a lot. So I did look at PFE this morning. I checked out the earnings. They weren't moving as much. So they might have also had some decent guidance kind of come into this one too. But I've got shares. I'm in. Next target for resistance, I think takes us to 31.52. I don't know if we're trapping as many bulls, as many bears on this one. Not yet. So I think for today, we probably fade this one. I don't know if there's a lot of room in this one to fade. You're definitely well off the highs. So if you're bullish, you're sitting in this thing. You might even have targets up to like $45, $40. It does have a little bit more room to go. Even if we were to do a fib on this one, I don't think our Fibonacci really kicked in. I'll start it here, although I could probably start a little bit further back. 50% retracement would take me to like 37, 33 would be a decent move. If we get to the 618, that takes us into that 40 zone. So there's definitely a lot more room on PFE to go up higher. Probably longer term, I think we get there. Today, this gave us more than enough time to start getting in, get better pricing. Some people got in 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Even if you got in 30, you're sitting at cool. I made some money today. We'll see what happens. But I think that you're going to run into, I think, some profit takers on PFE for today. And maybe we'll get that fade. Where I hold the right to kind of change that opinion, I think if we start breaking and start holding past 31.54, we might have a little bit more room up to like 32.24, but we got to break some of that resistance first. Probably again, a little bit, I think, tighter range. I wouldn't be as excited to get in bullish on this one unless we kind of came down to like this 30-80 zone, 30-81, 30-87, something like that. So we'll see. We got crowd CRWD, which is right now, I think, the lawsuit capital of the world. I think they're, yeah, they haven't had earnings yet, but I think they did have some downgrades. Yep. So we have one moving from 425 to 375. Still a lot higher. Still got a lot higher on it. But no go. No go. They're going to have a lot of headwinds. Valuation on this company is pretty much still through the roof. And then you're kind of dealing with the headwinds of uh, where everybody's computer screen was blue and Delta flights were getting held up and rescheduled, and the world was a mess for a good 24 hours. So I think, and we talked about this before in the room, it's very tough. Like if you miss earnings on a quarter, you could spin it, you could put out positive guidance, you could do something. When it's an actual fundamental, like you're supposed to be protecting networks and then you go down, and I think they said that they were doing an update and they're the ones that caused it. They didn't actually get hacked themselves. I maybe that helps a little bit, but that's a big image branding situation that they got. So I do think they're probably heading down a little bit more. I would say probably a lot more. Long-term investing is just not, it has to come down a lot more for me to get interested in that. So the only thing I can really look at is the trading aspect. And trading, there's a lot of days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red days in a row. Even that green day is just more of a retest. We did have a successful day trade on that day. We played that fade. Do I want to play the fade today? I don't know. Not really. I do have some support. I guess the next level down for me would be about 244.54. I don't think that this is a big enough gap. I think it is a kind of a damaging gap for any of the people that are just, hey, something's dipping, let's buy it. So I think some of those guys might be losing money, but I don't think we have that many of them in here. Um, Anybody still holding the short side is going to be a gift. I think this one does fade higher. Again, I probably won't play the fade, but if we get back to like 252, 254, specifically like 254.70, then I'm really going to start to look to fade this thing short. But that it doesn't look like a great, strong, bullish gap in any stretch of the imagination. We're actually gapping down. But I do think probably more of a fade on this one would make sense. That being said, if you want to play this thing short, I would be looking for targets down to like 244 at least. If we start to lose that, it could get quite ugly. Let me see where those volume zones are. Oh, yep, that's right. I turned it off in the class last night. There we go. Now we're back. Yep, even on the volumes, volume zone of everything, this not really a lot till 234.88. I don't see a lot till 209.61, and then maybe back down to this like 188. So it looks like we have a decent amount of room to go down, but I think either buying puts if we get that bounce today or going short after a bounce, just try to get a slightly better price. That kind of looks ugly for crowd. Let me get this one a tad higher, and we'll watch that one for sure. So Joe said, what happened to Dell and SoFi yesterday? Dell doesn't look like anything. Uh, Not a great close on it. We do have potential double bottom. We also got that 200 very, very close to us. What I really don't like on it is that yesterday's VPOC did close below those two. So we're still trending down, and then we were able to close below that. So look for resistance on 112.59. Otherwise, again, it was a little bit of a gap and go to start. I had a lot of room up to about 117.64. Looks like we got held up before that off of this volume zone. So they're trying to hold this thing below 114.73 at this point. And most likely looks like at this point we're at least looking at that 200. So I think we have some more room to kind of fade this thing down. And really we have untested zones somewhere around 106.11. So I probably could make a decent case that we're heading slightly below that 200. For today, again, I think if you're looking at short, and you could probably get a decent short on this one, 112.48, and then probably want your stop somewhere above yesterday's high, 115.81. But it looks like it's got a little bit more downside pressure. We don't have earnings specifically on Dell till August 29th, so we have a lot of time. But we have other companies kind of related to the field, and again, even like these AMDs, I think we even actually have Nvidia before this. I know we got like the Microsoft's coming out today, tomorrow. I should probably just look up when that is, but I know it's either today or tomorrow. Uh, so there could be some sympathy plays for Dell, but if I'm looking at Dell specifically, it doesn't look like they're trying to hang in a bullish direction yet, and probably a bigger pullback at this point makes sense. SoFi, I don't know what happened with SoFi specifically yesterday, but they did have earnings this morning. So this morning, earnings came out on SoFi. Again, they did beat. It wasn't. It wasn't that bad. I thought it was pretty good earnings considering the size of the company, the revenue that came in. I think everything looked pretty decent on it. I would have liked to see a bigger move on this one, but this one has been historically anytime there's a beat or good news, the big guys kind of come in and pound this one down. But this is our third profitable quarter, based on GAAP revenue in a row. So I think they are starting to turn the corner a little bit. We did get some volume in. Again, that could be just pre-market jitters. That could be people adjusting their positions. All that is possible for this volume. Interesting gap on this one. Again, I have positions. I got plenty of time on some call options. So far not bad. I do like the numbers coming in. We just the one thing SoFi misses is that bullish momentum. It needs to get that again. But this is otherwise decent gap and go. We were clearing yesterday. We got the volume in there today. Biggest challenge I have on this one is probably about $7.59. If we can get through that, then probably right back into the 780. I could see that happening today. We definitely are putting a lot more of the bulls in the trap zone than we are really for the bulls. So, and then we do, like I said, I think the earnings were good. They even came in. I don't know if this is quite accurate, but they, according to a trading view, they're saying by half a penny. So they were expected a loss. They came in with a beat. They beat by 31.7 million. Their margins are pretty good. I think they're up 41% year over year. So compared to 38% year over year from this time last quarter. So I think they're doing some things correctly, and they just keep getting pounded down over and over again. But eventually, there's a certain point where that doesn't happen. How today's going to play out, I'm not sure, but this is a gap and go. Would like to stay more bullish than bearish if you're going to trade it. Just watch out for that $7.59 zone. PayPal. Um, every time I look at this one, I'm forming a different opinion. We were right around this zone when I first looked at this morning. The key spot for me is 63.33. I want to be above that. If we could get above 63.33 by the time this thing opens, I would be more interested to go long. Or even if during the day this thing wants to pop up and we get a couple good closes, we come down, we retest it. Anything under 63.33, I think that's kind of where our resistance lies. Again, they did have their revenue be again, they're absolutely beat up company, but they're in the fintech zone. They actually make revenue. A lot of the other guys don't. You guys know I've been bullish on PayPal, so it is what it is. What I think is the most impressive about what they put out is not so much even the 20 cents. They beat by 20% on earnings per share. They beat by 60 million on the revenue side of things. I don't even think that matters. What I think the investors are looking for is how do we actually value PayPal? That's the question. Right now, again, they actually make money. They are actually growing, but they're growing by like 8-9%. Right? So they're getting valued as more of a bank stock. if they could switch it and they could just do nothing else but change the mentality of it's actually fintech, and then there was some improvements, there were some decent good highlights from the quarterly report, but then we started getting the higher valuations of a more tech related fintech company like the Squares that just move off of anything, right? So I think this is all positive, but we're still starting to make that shift. So the biggest thing that I think kind of came out was their guidance, their forecast. They were putting that we're probably having the low to mid-teen growth. And if we could continue to grow that, and they're showing that their company is not just a, I think the argument is that they're a dinosaur, they've been around forever and there's no growth left. I think there's a lot of growth left, but that's why I invest. You need people to say no, it's not, it's a dinosaur, and then that's how the market moves back and forth. Otherwise, everybody agrees on the same thing, the market never moves. But day trade purpose, I really want to see 63.33 kind of break out, hold. Right now, we got 6 minutes left, and the Bears seem to have brought it down. Again, I don't really want to go bearish on this one or play the fade just because I'm a little bit more bullish, and it's just tough for me to do. But there could be a fade opportunity in here. If you're looking for a fade, I'd probably look for like 61.91 as my target to the downside, and just have your stop somewhere above that 63.33 zone. Maybe even if you want to come in short, right around 63.30, something like that, would be a decent spot to try get good risk to reward and see if this one wants to fade for a day trade. So, but otherwise, yeah, nothing wrong with the numbers. Peter says I'm in there long with you. Uh-huh. Lucia says my PayPal's looking good this morning. Yeah, for right now. Right now. We'll see. I would have liked it a little bit higher, a little bit more, but I think again, longer term, I'm fine. The one quarterly report doesn't really matter, even if this was a bad one. I don't think it was. I think it was good. But because of the open, I think probably we get some selling, we get some profit taking. We were kind of zoned in this direction for a while, and I think we have enough. Still, Bears just hopping in anything below 63.33. So I'm not going to be counting my chips today. I think we probably sit through some kind of a fade, and then the next couple days we finally consolidate, and then maybe we break again. So I think there's more time for PayPal. Just I'm not going to get too excited about today, although I would love to. I would love to, but it is what it is. B Flam and Clarice are saying Nvidia, the vids. AMD reports today. Nvidia is going to be a victim. Victim or a benefactor. Depends on how AMD performs. Right now, it does look like Nvidia probably still wants to kind of come down a little bit further. So I would have my targets where I think we can get to today, probably about 109.05. After the bell rings today, I have no idea. We'll see. We'll see where this thing wants to gap. We'll see how AMD reports. If AMD does not report good today, and the last earnings report was good, it wasn't for AMD. It wasn't bad. It just didn't live up to the expectations that AI and chips and everything else kind of set for it. So there's still revenue, but all of these numbers are on like even the Nvidia pricing. It's a little expensive, but you can make a case on Nvidia because they absolutely come out and clobber their earnings every single time. They have more money they know what to do with, and then the valuation starts to kind of catch up to the market price. We've seen kind of that pin pop a balloon just a little bit. So if AMD comes out and absolutely crushes it, and there's the first one to kind of report in the AI space for the most part, or at least closely related to NVIDIA, that could put the steam right back into NVIDIA. That would give a lot of hope because if AMD could do it, NVIDIA could definitely do it. If those numbers come out weak on AMD, we have a long time still. We got a couple weeks till NVIDIA reports. We got August 28th. So now we're going to be sitting there for a couple weeks unless something else crazy happens. But we're going to be sitting there for a couple weeks, probably with like I don't know, is the balloon going to blow up again, or is this it? And I think that would drive more weakness. And I think if AMD reports rough, we could be seeing a 95 print eventually. Maybe not tomorrow, but eventually. For today, though, yeah, I'd be watching this 109.05. We've already kind of come down. We've already hit that once. the next spot after that one. So I think that 95 zone can break. And then I'm looking for like not 95. What am I talking about? 109.05 could break. And then we got the 104.65 next up. But right now it does look a little bit still weak this morning. Let's see what else we got. What else did I miss? Coinbase. Coinbase for my boy Bill. Um, a little gap up this morning. So mini gap and go. We're just in the bottom range. Look for resistance on this one somewhere around 237.06. Otherwise, it kind of just looks like it's hanging out. You know, nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy. We have one little support somewhere around 234.79. I think that one absolutely could get taken out. You also have the 50 that you're looking for down here, some kind of support. I think that could get taken out as well. I think today, especially if you get some buying, that's a lot of selling that we had yesterday. I almost rather short this thing at 242. But the next real spot that I have is about 231.44. So that's kind of where we were looking at yesterday as well. But we did close under all the recent VPOCs. Even though we have a gap and go, we are slightly above that last one. That could give us probably a little bullish pop at open. I just don't know if it lasts. And there's your mini pop already. But we will see. That is the morning bell. So all my people on YouTube land, I appreciate you joining us each and every day. Unfortunately, it's that time. I gotta call it quits. I gotta disconnect.